Well, lovely to speak to you. Now you're the voice of the first Indian superhero. So what was it like?
It is fabulous, first of all, to have been offered this fabulous project, animated short film. Jahan pe, Pooja, I never thought that I would be voicing India's first woman superhero. And it's actually something that I manifested in this lockdown, क्योंकि तन्वी जो हमारी प्रोड्यूसर है उनसे बात चल ही रही थी कि बच्चों के लिए कुछ करना है यार, क्योंकि मेरी नीस, मेरे नेफ्यू, मेरा भाई, हम whenever they always ask me, दीदी मैं क्या देखूं OTT platform पर, and then there was absolutely nothing that I could recommend. And I could recommend them watch Harry Potter, watch Frozen, watch this. They're like, we've seen this, Didi. We want something new to watch. So that's when I realized that I have to do something for the kids, especially at times like these, na Pooja, because after COVID situation, we are only talking about how it has affected the GDP, how it has affected the other. We're not talking about how it has affected kids, how it has affected their mental state. अचानक से बच्चों को स्कूल नहीं जाना, वर्चुअल स्कूल लेसन्स लेना, to not being able to meet their friends, to not step out, it is very difficult. And बच्चों को डांट के नहीं बताया जा सकता है, उनको एक समझाना पड़ता है, एक तरीका होता है. So जिसकी already 3, yes, Priya Shakti ki already 3 editions hai, which is about acid attack survivors, sexual abuses, सब इसके बारे में. But I think 2020 में बहुत ही जरूरी था to raise about COVID-19, the pandemic situation, and how important it is to wear a mask. And सबसे ज्यादा important ये है कि अपने माँ बाप को एज अ सुपर हीरो के तौर से देखो, things will just change for you. When was the last time a kid visited his mom or her dad's office? We basically don't know what is the atmosphere exactly like when our parents are working. And I felt like after voicing this character, I went back home and I asked my dad, are you okay? Are you happy? And I'm very proud of you, Papa. You have no idea, he was so happy that day. He was so happy. I can't even explain it to you. And especially times like these, now the kids are going through fear, going through anxiety. Like I remember growing up, I did not know what depression was. I did not know what anxiety was all about. But these kids, I feel it's very unfair for them to know all these big terms at such young age. They don't deserve this. They deserve to have friends, and especially this pandemic, it's so difficult, like especially for Priya, बहुत ही मुश्किल रहा होगा Priya को to explain it to kids that we are in the middle of pandemic. Hold on, it will take some time, but trust me, after a few months or few years, we will be able to fight with COVID. All we have to do is just wear our mask and wait for the vaccine. It is a very simple message. But as an actor, as an entertainer, are we taking enough efforts in order to portray towards audience? Is it reaching it to them? So I felt like comics se zyada it was important because visually zyada connect kar pate hai bacche. So rather than they watching some random cartoon, they should watch short animated movies like Priya's Mask, which will allow them to understand their parents also.
True. And what I liked about Priya is the fact that she's homegrown. She's our own, because usually you see the Videshi superheroes. Apna desi
the foreigners.
That was interesting.
Imagine she's somebody wearing a kurta and and she has dupatta ke jaise uska ek cape hai, and I can relate to Priya too much with Durga Ma because she has her flying tiger. You know how इंडिया में काफी सारे ऐसे लोग, ऐसी औरतें, ऐसी फीमेल है जिनके बारे में स्टोरीज गेट लॉस्ट. So my superheroes, if you ask me, Savitri Bai Phule, because she's the one who started women rights. She started fighting for women rights. I mean, kids don't know about them.
Yeah.
Kids don't know much about Kalpana Chawla. Kids don't really know much about Hima Das, and we need to tell them. So I think Priya was a character which, who allowed to be the voice of reasons. and अच्छा लगा मुझे play करके. It was really nice.
And also, I like Priya's backstory also. She's somebody who's been through her own struggle and how she,
Yes.
despite being disempowered herself, she's empowering people.
Yes.
That struck me a lot. And
Yes.
she's a young teenager. And also, of course, she was inspired by the awful 2012 case that shook the nation, especially women. So,
Yes.
but I want to ask her, as an independent girl who has made it on her own, like gender disparity, what are the things that you actually want to see end, or what do you personally face and sometimes think like a BP, you are a woman of this world, of the 21st century?
You know, when I was growing up, a lot of friends of mine were told by their parents that it's okay, you're a girl. You're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to cross your leg and sit. You're supposed to have long hair. ऐसी सारी चीजें मुझे बहुत डिस्टर्ब करती थी. And one good thing that I did not belong to that, like my family, well, my parents were always out there. They never had that difference ki she's a daughter and we have a daughter and we don't have a son. There was no gender inequality or discrimination as far as my parents were concerned. So I'm really proud about them. Number two, it can be as small as when I was shooting for Tufan. I realized, I just asked Rakesh sir, I was like, is it okay if I cut my hair short? क्योंकि बॉलीवुड हीरोइंस का जो परसेप्शन भी है कि लंबे बाल होने चाहिए, and somewhere down the line we set an example. There are few girls who want to have short hair but they just can't because their parents think that girls have to take permission from their husbands and their in-laws to go cut their hair. It is very small but it really upsets me.
True.
So all these small little things kind of made me uncomfortable. And I was like, I want to inspire girls, not going like being very aggressive or anything, but just standing for ourselves. Because if I'm not going to stand for myself, no one else would be. Coming to the fact that talking about schooling, I always had boycott and I was always teased because boys called me that is a boy. The name is also so manly. It's not a usual name. It's not a normal name. It was a unisex name, so I faced a lot of discrimination when I was a kid too. A lot of ragging used to happen, and that's probably the reason why I'm the person that I am today. And thanks to all the bullies, I want to say that because of you, I am here and I'm happy. And I'm doing interviews and I'm going places and I'm voicing this character who's India's first superhero. I mean, thank you guys.
Awesome. And Mrunal rightly said, because they say that revenge is a dish best served cold. I mean, nothing succeeds like success.
Yes.
You proved it. Kuch nahi kiya, maine dikha diya. And now Ram has also joined us, the creator. So
Yes.
Are you wearing a mask?
I'm Sahas.
Sahas.
No, this is augmented reality. So I put on AR mask, but I can show you my real face in a second. Here we go.
So I have the voice of Priya, our own superhero, Mrunal Priya. So Sahas, I mean, he's the force that takes her all over the world so she can spread the message. So how did this idea actually come about? Mrunal's explained it. It's a lovely way of reaching out to children because we don't have comics like these. So,
yeah, I mean, this whole project started with the gang rape that happened on the bus in Delhi in 2012. And our first comics dealt with sexual violence issues and were more designed for teenagers. And as we sort of progressed, and especially with this COVID-19 pandemic, we wanted to sort of reframe the comic book for children because the emotional toll that this is having on children hasn't really been discussed or measured. I mean, we know the economic, the cultural impact of this, but not on the psychological or emotional impact on children. So we kind of changed the subject, the tone, the style to be more approachable and more friendly towards children, for children.
And what I like, other than Priya, she also has a counterpart who's the Burqa Avenger. It's very interesting that how you created these two, as I would say, desi subcontinental superheroes. We don't need to look at Wonder Woman and their clan.
Yeah, we brown girls are absolutely capable of doing things. I think we only put ourselves down ki nahi mujhse nahi hoga. Okay, gone are those days, guys. We have Burqa Avengers and Priya, and they're absolutely going to rock. And we need more role models like them.
I totally agree. So, I mean, Mrunal, I mean, before I go to Ram, who was your superhero when you were growing up? I heard that you loved comics.
Well, I think Mrunal's kind of well, basically, I grew up in India reading the Hindu mythological comics, and then those were the things that really inspired me to understand sort of Indian history and mythology. And I always say, you know, Indian mythology, those are our superheroes in India. But when I moved to the US, I then read Marvel and DC comics and fell in love with Superman and Wonder Woman and Spider-Man and all these others. And this is where this kind of fusion of both things started coming into the creation of Priya Shakti.
And I must say, Indian mythology has been far more gender. I mean, there's been no disparity because you had Shakti along with the men. I think DC and Marvel have been there has been disparity. Don't you think so?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the American comics in the past were very, especially the women, were overly sexualized, or they were basically fantasies for teenage boys. But I think that's changed. I mean, you can see that with Captain Marvel, even the Wonder Woman, the new version of Wonder Woman, much more empowered, stronger, not sexualized in any way. I think these have all become a reflection of the modern times and the role of women and women in society. I think that's coming for sure.
Mrunal, who was your favorite superhero or superheroine?
Okay, so I'm not much of a reader, and we literally used to watch, like one day we used to get, that was Sunday, to watch television, and we would watch Shaktiman, and I also remember watching Malgudi Days. You know, through Malgudi Days, or be it Shaktiman, I have learned so many things, and they're very nostalgic. Like I'm more of a visual person, and thank God I'm more of a visual person, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't land up in movies. And I'm glad that, you know, we also have Priya Shakti comics, and we are now coming up with Priyas, which is an animated short film. So I'm glad it's balanced for kids who prefer watching than reading.
And what I like about Priya Shakti, and now this is both to Ram and Mrunal, is the fact that Priya, as we heard, her history, where, you know, she has been violated, but it's about telling people, yes, it's not good, but you can get your power back. So do you think this message will reach out through this, or do you feel that we need to do a lot more beyond this? And does it actually help? Because you have a very well-known actor lending her voice to this.
I mean, I was involved in those protests in Delhi, you know, back in 2012. And what really inspired me was seeing all these young people, both men and women, protesting together, because they were really frustrated and angry at what happened, and also the lack of response from society and government at that time, especially towards women. So it was very inspiring to see that young generation going out and doing it. And that was the real motivation for this. And I think the comic book, you know, it's a conversational thing. It's a starting piece, but really this is something that requires multi-dimensional layers of support, not only within society, but within government, within religious leaders, you name it, all over, have to come together. And even celebrities are a very critical part. I mean, celebrities in India in particular are hugely important. A lot of people are very inspired and also challenged by them. And I think lending Mrunal's voice and Vidya and all these remarkable stars coming on board really catapults this project to the next level.
Basically, you've raised your voice, like Vidya. I mean, you have spoken for issues, because I saw you during the pandemic. You spoke about domestic violence. You've spoken about
artisans
against women. Yes, you've spoken about artists, and you've also spoken about bullying, online bullying. But there's a lot of pressure on celebrities because people feel they should stand up for everything. But you also, as individuals, there's just that much that you can do. Do you sometimes feel there's too much pressure on you from outside sources ki bolna hi hai?
Yes, there is a lot of pressure, but guys, I think audience forget that we are also human beings. But I promise you, Pooja, as a human being, as an actor, that I will raise my voice as and when it is required. I will make sure that I will go out of my comfort zone in order to make someone feel comfortable. And this is the power we have. Actors have this power that through the work, through my art, through my cinema, we could make small changes in the society. But uh, it is not possible to bring that change on the whole. You can specifically target a specific zone, or like for example, I always stood up for sex trafficking. I always stood up for, there were a lot of artisans in this COVID-19 lockdown situations where they ended up they just didn't know where they were sending their daughters to. So we kind of rescued them also in this pandemic. 18, 19 girls we saved. And this is my area. I really want to focus on it, guys. And honestly, this online bullying, and when they start putting pressure on my shoulder, sometimes I feel helpless. But there's nothing that we can do. That's why we need people like Vidya, Balan. We need people like even Karthik Aryan. What he did all throughout this lockdown was quite incredible. And I just want, like, this is my request to all the Bollywood actors, to all to the entire fraternity, that please, guys, if we come together, if we raise our voice for all these issues and just make this society a better place, trust me. If Vidya Balan ma'am can inspire me, and I have reached here, how many, like, imagine the people who are going to watch Priyas Mask would be inspired, and how. So I just want everyone to come together and make this world a better place. That's it. That's the thing. And online bullying, we have one option, and all we can do is ignore them.
Absolutely. And lastly, before we wrap up, Ram, I want to say, will we see this becoming a series? Since we've got the voices, maybe we can see, Mrunal as Priya, and Sahas, of course, Vidya coming up. I mean, will we see this as a series? This can be a homegrown series.
Yeah, I mean, I hope. I mean, this is definitely ripe for that.
Ram, just say yes. Say yes. Yes, let's manifest it.
What are your three superheroes? Mrunal, Saira, and Vidya.
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt, I hope this becomes a series. So we're open. I think this is a very popular story and character, and having such a remarkable actress as Mrunal to voice it is, I mean, it's a dream. You can't do any better than that.
Well, all that we need is just, somebody to just make a web series of, Priya, superhero Priya, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And lastly, before I go, Mrunal, which is that one role which you would never do? I mean, I'm sure you've rejected offers, but what are the kind of roles you would never do?
Where I am just standing as a piece of furniture, where I don't have a voice, I can't opinion, I can't raise my opinion. I would never want to be that person. Pooja, you know me, even if it is a small role, but she has, she should be important. Yeah, she should be inspiring. If that character is not inspiring, I don't want to do that. Sure. I don't want to do that.
Thank you so much. And Ram, what next after Priya's Mask?
Well, hopefully another comic book and maybe a short animated film, where we've been researching a lot of subject matters even before the pandemic, and that's been derailed. But we're hopefully get back to that and go back to some gender violence issues. And
do you feel all this just manages to make impact now more so than before?
I think having a short animated film, it reaches a bigger audience, and changing the audience to being younger will have more of an impact. I mean, everyone loves animation. More people watch animated films than they do read comic books. So this is possibility of reaching bigger audiences, sure.
Thank you so much, both of you. All the very best. Looking forward to it, though I've managed to catch this.
Thank you.
Loved it. And Tanvi is a great friend, so more power to all of you.
Yes. Last roar from Sahas.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. More power to Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.